Hello there, welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jedel Kabero Production with Nairobi Review. Nairobi Review is a company where we shoot videos for any event that you might have. We also do live streaming. This is courtesy of Nairobi Review. I'm glad that you've joined us once again. These conversations are very simple, truthful. Prof puts them across in a hard-hitting way. Prof, how are you today?
Well, I'm good.
You're well?
Good, yeah.
You know, we were sad when we heard that you lost your daughter. You went up country just to see how things are. Are things okay?
Well, we are still organizing. It's as well as it can get when you lose somebody.
I've just thought about that when I asked the question. Things can't be that well.
No,
yeah.
You have to make them well.
Yeah.
But we are going on with funeral preparations. Yeah.
Okay, from us, you know, deepest condolences. Thank you. We do hope God comforts your family. Our conversation for today comes from what you did on Saturday on GMOs. You're quite angry also on that. And after that, Raila Odinga came out, spoke about it. Archbishop Muheria came out, spoke about Moses Kuria, what he said. And you said you can't be a CS and speak the way Moses Kuria did because he said, in case you don't know, Moses Kuria said there are a lot of things that kill people in this country. Let's just put GMO on that list. It doesn't matter. People are dying. But Raila Odinga also made accusations that Ruto is being influenced by the US, and that's why this GMO issue has to sail through. When you look at that, what does that mean about this country as it is and the UDA regime?
GMO, there are many things to talk about. First of all, thank you for sympathies. GMO introduces a lot of things. There is the science, there is the politics, there are many things.
Okay.
First of all, the science. I'm not a scientist, but obviously GMOs cannot be good for anybody.
Okay.
Even where they are accepted with reservations and caution. If you go to America, for example, in a supermarket, it's very clearly indicated. This is GMO food, this is not GMO food. Can that work in this country?
So
the value system in this country, that it cannot work.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of zoning, there are places where they accept GMO, but they set aside certain parts of the country where you grow GMO. Can that work in Kenya? Why do they do that? Because if you allow GMO to interact with the biodiversity, GMO will kill everything else.
Okay.
So that you cannot grow anything else in this country 5, 7, 10 years from now.
Where GMO was planted.
It will have interfered with the genetic makeup of all other plants.
Okay.
So even the things our mothers plant at home, they will never grow. That means then you'll become dependent on the West, because only their seed will grow here.
Okay.
You see, number two, the science to maintain GMO, the level of science, how sophisticated you are as a country, we don't have it. So we will be at the mercy of the people, the owners of GMO.
But what do you think about Ruto?
They can refuse.
Yeah.
They can ensure you can't grow crops. They can go ahead and you grow their seeds. But they can also make it worse, that you do not produce any food. Now you depend on them for imports. So the science of it at that level, you can wonder then what's wrong with Ruto.
How about the politics of it? Because
now let me just finish the science.
Yeah.
There's also the science in terms of what you eat as GMO. Science is still not convinced it is safe.
There are different scientists with different...
Yeah, most generally.
Yeah.
That's why most serious countries have banned GMOs. Science is still doubtful whether this is safe. But finally, what is the problem? Why do you bring something which is still doubtful, which people have feared, which people have banned, which has the risk of destroying people's lives? We don't know in the next 50 years whether people will grow eyes behind here because of GMO.
Yeah.
Why do you bring it? Is the situation in this country that bad? And the Ruto must answer this question. Kenya has a deficit of 10 million bags of maize. 10.
Okay.
Then, if you assist the farmer just post-harvest loss, when you go to Kitale and people are harvesting and there's a lot of rain and the maize can't dry well, so the amount of maize that rots away, if you just can't handle small things for farmers, make life just little intervention from government, not even irrigation, nothing big, just little intervention from government will give you more than 10 bags of maize.
Okay.
So now the politics. It is obvious. They are proponents of things like GMO, people like Bill Gates and others, the Monsanto group. They're obvious, they don't hide it.
That's why Bill Gates was saying he has eaten GMO.
They are
I think
proponents of
almost
it.
he was saying,
and for their own selfish reasons. And they know it. And when they get a country going into an election, a third world country, they will look between the candidates, who is the candidate they can manipulate. Okay. And there are many people who believe they saw it's easier to manipulate Ruto. And logic seems to support that thinking. Why did the president move so fast to remove the ban on GMO? Even before he had his own cabinet. Even before cabinet began working, parliament began working. What was the hurry? He had not opened parliament. He had not even nominated cabinet, nominated, not appointed. So why did he use an obsolete cabinet, a cabinet that was already not legally functional?
Yeah.
Uhuru's cabinet. So you see, there's a sense of speed with which you suspect.
Are you suggesting that it was probably a condition when they helped him in his campaign?
But logic, people are saying so, not Manyora. But logic, if you subject everything to logic, those people seem to have a point that Ruto must have promised a number of people, if you support me, I'll allow you GMO. If you support me, I will accept IMF conditionalities. The speed even with IMF, on your swearing in there, you are saying, no subsidies. I don't support subsidies myself. I know they are abused.
Yeah.
But that speed, that decision at that level from the president, that's not a presidential decision.
Could this have been the same?
It can be a presidential suggestion. Not a decision.
Suggestion.
To move the country into GMO, to accept IMF conditionalities, is something you can only do with the cabinet and parliament. Because look, GMOs, the impact will live for years to come.
So what's your
suggestion? You cannot allow that to come from one person, even if that person be the president of the country.
Should we await the lawmakers in the National Assembly and in the Senate
to debate this? If we had a National Assembly and lawmakers.
We elected,
we just
there
have
are over 250 lawmakers.
Those are just cartoons. Most of them are just cartoons.
So
only a handful of them are serious people. The rest are just cartoons.
So you're telling Kenyans the president's word now is what it will be, and the GMOs will be implemented in the country?
They will be implemented, but with dire consequences.
Talk to me though about...
I find it difficult that my president, whom I support 100%, being a man of God, who professes Christianity, can subject Kenyans to GMO. I find it difficult. And so the bishop wandering around. If Ruto is a man of God, how can he subject his people to GMO? Because you don't have a problem. There are countries with a problem. But I've explained to you, Kenya does not have a problem.
You've said we can deal with it easily. But tell me about Raila Odinga, because now he's been accused of double speak. In 2011, he was among the people pushing for GMOs in the country. Now they're saying, why come out and condemn Ruto for pushing GMOs? And you are the person who was telling people that World Health Organization is among the organizations that have pushed for this thing. And they're saying it's okay for us to use GMO.
I heard Raila say, I've seen that clip, where he says, science is moving forward.
Yes.
You cannot move back. You cannot hold still. I have two answers to that. Number one is that when people are in government, all governments are conservative. All governments try to do bad things. It is for the people to say no. It is for Kenyans, for example, to tell Ruto no to GMOs and we shall not accept. We can even go to Mombasa. And niwaambie hizo meli hakuna GMO inashuka hapa. It's people, but governments are conservative. Governments do bad things. Governments kill their own people. And that's why I would not be surprised if that's what Raila meant. because he was government, he was prime minister.
Okay.
The other way of looking at it, after listening to the clip, Raila was vouching more for science, adaptation of science, than directly GMO.
Oh.
Yeah. To adaptation of science and technology in all these things, which you can say gets back almost the same thing.
Yes.
And the first explanation, therefore, would prevail. That people, when they are in government, they see no evil, hear no evil, and they think they are gods.
So is that the same situation with Ruto now?
Yeah.
See
So
no
it's
evil.
for citizens. It's not for even Raila. Because maybe if Raila was there, Bill Gates angekuwa amemwona kando. Mwambie wacha hiki tupite.
So it's just politics of this all. Now he said he's going to lead a powerful campaign and he's going to make sure that GMOs are not implemented
The Raila
in the
will not
country.
leave a careful. It's the people of Kenya to say no. And on this I'm very clear. On GMO, even if there was tear gas and there were demonstrations, I'll be at the front.
Because you say we don't know.
And it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about my children and their children. It's about the future. It's not about me. Me, I can eat anything because I'm gone.
Now, I've said governments are conservative. Regarding Gachagua came out saying on this issue of puppet and us being controlled on the West, by the West, Raila Odinga has no right to speak to us. He's the one who messed up the previous regime with debt burden and everything. That's regarding his response. What should have been their response from the executive after you had Moses Kuria say that about GMOs in the
There
country?
is a simple word in English, it's called salvage. You can salvage a situation. But the way impunity works, everything goes. Ruto is not bothered. And that's how impunity works. And I'm very good, I'm telling them what people will not tell them. That's how impunity works. That's how you get to a point you think you are a god. If the whole country is a national outburst, and you are the president and it means nothing to you, that's how impunity works.
Okay.
And that's how you fall down. Ruto should learn from Uhuru and Raila. They had everything going for them. But Raila is not the president. It is Ruto who is president. They ignored things like this. Uhuru ignored small things like this. He thought he was so powerful.
If you were there, what would you have done? If your CS
If I was the president, I just sack Moses Kuria. I call him in my office. I tell him you are a good guy. I know you. And by the way, Moses Kuria can work well. I have no doubt about it. Shida ya Moses Kuria ni mdomo yake. Yeah. So you ask yourself, if you are Ruto, what would be the case if Moses Kuria said what he has said in America? What would be the case if he said it in Canada? What would be the case if he said in you go smaller country?
Yeah.
Then you begin that in America, within 6 hours, Moses Kuria himself would have resigned. Himself.
Yeah.
In other countries, you say, okay, in this country, the president will have fired him. And you can go until people are demonstrating. So that will tell you, if you are William Ruto, that this man cannot be in cabinet. The message I'm sending to Kenyans is I don't care. Which is a bad message.
You've said it can lead to a downfall. Maybe, have you exaggerated on that? Because this is just a statement. And
things that bring countries down, governments down, kingdoms down,
Yeah.
they are always small things. It is never hardware. Hardware never brings anybody down. The famous French Revolution happened at a time there was more food. There was more bread and everything than had ever been there. The complaints of the French citizens over years go to a place where the king could no longer ignore the complaints. And he made concession after concession. I don't know whether I know the pronunciation. I learned it when I was school. Kahias. The complaints were, I think, either the way they are presented, the manner, the form, but they were called kahias.
Yes.
If I remember my history, from 6th history.
So they made
The complaints to the king. He got to a place where things are getting out of control and the king could not ignore. So he began implementing, making concessions. And there was now more bread. Life was much better when the revolution happened than ever before. So it is never the hardware.
It's always the software.
It is even the response of Maria Antoinette.
Yeah.
You know, of course, Kenyans don't understand when she told them go and eat cake. You know, in French, bread is like ugali. And the baker is a very important person. bread is baked. So you make your stew, alafu unaenda unanunua ugali. Ndio inaitwa bread. Na yeye anaambia watu wanunue keki wakulie mboga. Wewe uko na managu yako hapo umekaanga, mtu anakuambia ununue keki ukulie. Na sio nataka ununue ugali.
How?
So you see, that is software. And that's why developed democracies, they take public opinions very, very seriously. What is the country saying? And you see president making concessions, you even can't believe. You see?
Yeah.
Because they know it is what people feel, the anger that brings down a government. It's never the substance of the reasons. No, those ones are never a big issue. So if our President Uhuru, I would not ignore
President Ruto.
I would not ignore the fact that Moses has made many Kenyans very mad.
Okay.
So I'll call him, tell him, you're my friend, Moses. Let's try another time. For now, just go home.
Well, that is Manyora's presidency in 2027. Hope we'll see it sometime soon in Ruto's one. Till we do talk again, have yourself a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you.